club here. They had 350 people here a few weeks ago, and it was really nice. They raised a lot of money for our charity, our autism charity, so it was great. Thank you for your wonderful gift for autism too. Thank you so much to everyone. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Get all that out of the way. My dad, Bob Carini, he was a classic car restorer and Model A's. He was the co-founder of the Model A Restorers Club in 1951. And the reason that he founded that club was he had gone to a meeting of classic cars up in South Windsor, and he had a Model A that he just finished restoring in 1951, and they wouldn't let him enter the car. They said, well, we're having old cars, classic cars here, and that's just a used car. So it's 20 years old, 1931, 1951, it's 20 years old. It's just, you'll have to park that in the parking lot. And he got really upset, and on the way home, he talked about having his own club that they couldn't come to. And so they called it the Model A Restorers Club, trying to really niche it down to exactly what he was, which was a Model A restorer. And then it just blossomed from there, going to Hershey every year, restoring classic cars. We did that in a farm up in Mott Hill Road in Glastonbury on my family's farm. Candidate to do that. I agreed, paid no money, he said, but I said I'll take a shot at it. That was 10 years ago. 150 episodes ago. We're now in 37 countries, and over 400 million homes have the ability to watch Chasing Classic Cars. It's amazing. I have no idea why. I still don't get it. That's Dutch Bearcat down in Georgia. But I recently sold that car. My daughter and I were out for a ride, and we were going down Route 17, and coming out of a side road, a woman ran a stop sign, and she came about an inch, and I'm not kidding, away from T-boning us. And I decided at that point that I shouldn't be driving that car, because if it ever got hit, an original car, you can't replace that originality, that patina. So that day I called the auction company, and we ended up selling the car. So people say, how could you sell that car? That was the ultimate find. And then about 6 weeks later, I got a phone call about a Minerva that was up in New York. So this car came from New York. It belonged to a guy from Hartford, and his name was John Hawkinson, also known as Hawkeye. And I don't know if anybody remembers that guy Hawkeye, but back in the 50s, Hawkeye would show his Packards and Buicks and stuff at the Hartford Autorama, and he was a very good friend of my father's. He was very eccentric, lived in the windshield is. It has a divider window in the middle, and it's a Hibbert and Darren body. So Darren, everybody can remember Darren bodies. So this guy Hibbert and Darren were over in Paris back in the 20s, and they decided to build bodies together over in Paris. And so this is a Paris-built Hibbert and Darren body. It is the only Minerva with this body. There's another Rolls-Royce that has a similar body. Well, what's really cool is we have a low windshield, we have a very long hood, we have barrel sides. We went all over the world. Oh, lots of folks.
I need a cigarette.
Model T house car. So that car in town, it now belongs to my family. It's in my daughter's trust, and hopefully will be in our family here. My older daughter sells it when I'm gone. I was about 10 years, many years, and finally the gentleman passed away that owned it last, and his son called me and he says, apparently my father thinks that you should have this car. He stapled your business card to the title. Deanna told me that was built specifically to promote Ford's house kits, sort of like Sears and Roebuck. Monday morning would find a pile of fiberglass parts outside his shop and asked Roger if he wanted it at 50-50, 100-100, which meant 100 miles an hour at 100 yards, or 50 miles an hour at 50 yards, how he wanted it to look, how good he wanted to make it. And then was a woman that came to my father's shop with a Volkswagen one day that got bumped, and she said, "I'm new to town. After you do the body work, I need some mechanical work. Can you recommend someone?" So I said, "Well, this guy Roger Barr down in New London Turnpike." Well, 3 years later, they were married. So Roger always attributes his marriage to my father.